I'm Daniel Dazi, great to have you with us. And the Ghana Veterinary Service is blaming lack of strict adherence of biosafety measures by poultry farmers for the latest outbreak of bird flu recorded in parts of the country. Head of Public Health and Food Safety, Dr. Bashiri Boy Kikimoto, says the new H5N1 strand of the disease that has been recorded in the Ashanti and Eastern regions could have been transported into the country from neighboring countries like Nigeria.
Poultry products even come into this country. That's why we have our people at the harbor. Because when there's a disease outbreak, like this avian influenza, the World Animal Health Organization, OIE, will notify veterinary services that, look, we have an outbreak from this place, so don't import poultry products from that country. So if we are not at the harbor to make sure that people don't introduce new disease into our country, it will be a disaster for this country. So most of these things, it is sometimes people who travel and maybe they give them some chicken, they don't pass through the normal way, and when it's incubating, it will not show. But once you bring it, it will show. And then by that time, it has spread the thing, because it's not like Ebola that you have to touch and get the thing. It's through breathing.
Okay.
It's
airborne.
Yes, airborne.
Okay.
Yeah. We are short of staff. So what we have done as a department is that there are certain critical areas we must put people there. Like the harbor, like the airport, like Aflawo, Paga, Hamley, Elubu, those legal entry points, at least we make sure vets are there. Because we don't want the introduction of diseases to this country. That government will pay a lot of money in paying compensation again to farmers and to people who have lost their livelihood.
Now, about 11,816 birds have been killed in the latest bird flu outbreak recorded in parts of the Eastern and Ashanti regions. A farm in Tema has lost 450 birds to the outbreak in Accra. Dr. Boy Kikimoto hinted some signs to look out for when buying live chickens from the market in order to prevent animal-to-human transfer of the H5N1 influenza virus.
If you go to the market, look at the chunks of the chicken, the thighs.
Okay.
If you see red patches on it, please don't touch it. If you go to buy a new fowl, look at the comb and the wattles. If they change from red to bluish a little, don't buy that, because maybe on the way it wouldn't die. It's a sign that it's having Newcastle. It was incubated just showing. So these are some of the simple signs every Ghanaian should look for.
Okay.
And if you are not sure anything, please call veterinary services. Let us assist you. Because we don't want anybody to die from bird flu. Even though our numbers are few, we are still making sure that Ghanaians don't get animal diseases. Yeah.
Now, away from that, a family of the children killed by floods at Asabi near Asokori Mampong in Kumasi is demanding the release of their bodies for burial. They say they cannot pay some 1,000 Ghana cedis per body being demanded by the Asokori Mampong police. The death toll stands at 8, with 4 of them belonging to the family at Asabi. Mother of the 4 children has still not been found. The family is accusing NADO officials of doing little to help in the search for her. Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko visited the family house of 3 children and 1 young woman killed by floods at Asabi and now reports.
It's been 6 days since floods swept through Kumasi, leaving in its wake death and devastation. 3 children and a young woman of the same family are among the dead. The metal container in which they were seeking refuge was swept away by the rushing water. Where I'm standing on this pedestal is where the metal container was sitting. In that metal container was where the woman who is now missing works. So the children were inside the metal container, and you could see directly in the path of the flood waters, they were sitting directly in the eye of the storm, if I should put it that way. So the rushing waters lifted the metal container, including the children, and swept them away to the side. The other children managed to cross over to this side, and they were helped by a good Samaritan to stand on top of this metal container, and that's how come they were saved.
The rain was not too heavy, so we thought it wasn't going to flood. Later, we realized that the levels were so high that no one could come out. 2 colleagues of mine later left the shop, one seeking a higher ground for her children. So I realized I could also leave the shop. I saw water sweep the shop. Immediately I left the shop. I saw them being carried away.
50-year-old Susanna Mansu, who was with the children, is still missing, and her husband, Eric Kudanu, is devastated.
I feel so lonely, sadly, miserable, at the same time crazy. So,
you need their help.
I need you people help to let me feel at home. Thank you very much. They always get out and get in and search for her, but at the end of the day, they come with empty-handed.
Elizabeth Mansu, mother of a 12-year-old victim, is grief-stricken.
I am saddened by the incident, but I know they are sleeping in the Lord as Christians believe. I have hopes of seeing them again someday.
Adaire Kennedy, father of 24-year-old victim of the floods, wants government to help settle some 1,000 Ghana cedis being demanded by the Asokore Mampong police to enable him bury his daughter.
He told me to find 1,000 cedis before I can get my daughter's remains for burial. He said we'll be paying money to some people in the court and other places. Initially, he demanded 500 cedis, but I do not have that money.
The entire family wants the bodies released to them for burial. Togwe Amaku is head of the family.
Yeah, a copy Tinde Sekra Crofo Eguso Nam Sunu.
We have performed all the necessary rituals, but she is yet to be found. Our relatives go out daily to search for them, but we want the 4 we have been able to retrieve to be buried. We have lost hope in finding the remaining one.
No, now no. Say.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Now, Erastus has been speaking to the police for a reaction to this 1,000 CD payment allegation, and he joins us on the phone with the latest. Erastus, what explanation has the police been giving you concerning this demand, this alleged demand for 1,000 CDs?
Well, the police have been explaining the context in which that amount is being demanded. And they are saying that they told the family members that they need to conduct autopsy, and that money is for the autopsies to be conducted, and it's not coming to the police themselves, but it's going into Kumasi Teaching Hospital for the autopsy to be done on the bodies before they could be released to the family, because they need to establish scientifically the cause of death and place it on record. And so that is the explanation coming from the Asokore Mampong police. Now, I must say that issue has been resolved. NADMO came together. I spoke with the regional NADMO coordinator. He said they've called the Ghana National Health Service. Dr. Intiansare has agreed that they should write letters for each of the victims, add their names, and submit them to the Ghana Health Service for the autopsy to be waived and the bodies released to the families for burial. And so as I speak, the families are with NADMO at the moment, having that in done at Kumasi Teaching Hospital.
Do we know when the families will be given access to the bodies?
Now they are currently with the NADMO office. They are moving to Kumasi Teaching Hospital for those letters to be done. and the procedures to be followed.
Okay.
And so I spoke with the family, and they are saying that if the bodies are released to them today, then the burial will be happening tomorrow or Friday. But
have they been assured that they will be given the bodies today?
It's possible that they will get the bodies released to them today.
Right. Thank you very much, Sister Sarah Donko, for joining us with that information. Now, let's come back to Accra now. And striking drivers of the ILO Bus Service say they have called off their industrial action pending a meeting between them and the Labour Commission tomorrow morning. For the past couple of days, persons who patronize the services of the buses have been left stranded because the drivers are protesting non-payment of their salaries. Spokesperson of the drivers, Promise Wemega, joins us on phone with more on reasons why they have decided to call off the strike. Hello, Mr. Wemega. Is it true that you have decided to call off the strike today, and why? Mr. Wemega, can you hear me?
Hello, I cannot speak Tree, but I can speak English perfectly.
Yes. Yeah, we are speaking English.
So if you can interview me in English, I prefer it.
Right. If you can hear me, Mr. Wemega, my question is, why have you decided to call off the strike?
Why do we decided to call
off the strike?
We did not call off the strike because the work we are doing, it is for the benefit of the Ghanaians. So we decided to put a few buses on the road today so that if they finish the meeting up to tomorrow, either we continue on the strike or if our grievances have been addressed, then we continue to work.
So if your grievances are not met tomorrow, these buses that you have put on the road in the interim, will you leave them on the road or you take them off the road?
Yeah, when our grievances have not been addressed from today up to tomorrow, it's like yesterday is part 1. So tomorrow we will continue on the strike, which is part 2.
And by part 2, you mean you would call off the buses on the road now?
We are going to take off all the buses from the road because it's like our leaders are not being truthful to the public or the media. One of our director, Mr. Fred came to the air today that they own us 2 months, which is not true. It is five months. Even last year, much have not been paid to us. So it is not true that Mr. Fred comes on the air to come and spoke to the public, put it in the public domain by saying that they own us by two months. It is 5 months, so it's not true.
Okay. So tomorrow, what do you want to hear from the officials before you decide to restore work, in case they are not able to get your 5 months' money to pay for you?
Yeah, they are having a meeting today concerning our strike. So if our grievances are not be addressed, we continue part 2 strike from tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much, Promise Wemega, for joining us today. He represents the ILO Bus Drivers Service. Now, the Labour Commission had earlier expressed concern about the illegality of their action, since there were already ongoing attempts to resolve their concerns. Fred Chidi speaks for the Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executives, the operators of the ILO Bus Service. He will be joining us shortly, but just as you heard from Ms. Wemega tell us there, the ILO Bus Service has been restored temporarily, and they're saying that they have not restored their services fully, and that if the meeting they're having with leadership today does not result in fruitfully for them, they would have to go back on strike. Let's speak with Mr. Fred Chidi now. Now, Mr. Chidi, what has management resolved to do in addressing the concerns of the drivers?
Good afternoon. What station I'm talking to now? I've done a number of interviews this morning. Where am I?
This is Joy News on Multi TV, sir.
Oh, Joy News. Oh, okay. Hello. Okay. You and good afternoon to viewers. And the question is, what has happened?
Yes, what is management doing to address the concerns of the drivers?
Okay, what I'll do is, first of all, let me announce that drivers who unilaterally embarked on a strike action yesterday have rescinded their decision, and as we speak right now, the ILO buses are running on the corridor.
A quick correction there, Mr. Chidi. Quick one there, Mr. Chidi. Sorry to do this, but we just spoke with Promise Wemega, who heads the driver union. He says that they have not rescinded their strike. They have temporarily restored some of their services, and they are just waiting for the outcome of this meeting to see if they will go back to the old system where none of their buses are operating, or they will restore their operations fully.
Well, let me. I was coming to that. I would explain that the National Labour Commission has invited all the grieving parties to a meeting. And so as we're speaking right now, the buses are rolling on the Amasaman to corridor. That's the point I was trying to make. Listen to the gentleman you spoke to and what he said. So I'm able to respond to him. But I'm just telling you, I think our viewers know that ILO is back in service as we speak. And the background to this has been the fact that the Labour Commission, which is mediating in this drivers' union, has stepped in and asked that we all meet tomorrow at the commission to resolve the matter. And so first of all, we are grateful that the drivers have seen reason to go back on the road. As to whether or not it is just temporal, I am not able to say, except to add that the Labour Commission has done what we expect them to do, because since they are the arbitrators in this matter.
Right. The drivers want a payment of the amount of money that they are owed. They say they are owed a 5-month salary. Some management members have come to say that they are owed 2 months' salary. What's the official figure when it comes to the number of months that they're supposed to be paid?
As a matter of fact, I do not have the figures right in front of me now, or to be able to confirm or deny whether the company or the drivers are owed 5 months' salary. But what I've always been saying this morning is that from the finance department, the information I get is that workers were paid the month of May in full. Workers, including the drivers, I understand, were paid in full for the month of May. Now, what is outstanding, as I know, is that June has just ended. Today is the 4th of July. And so efforts were being made to have their June salaries paid them. But additionally, my information also is that there were arrears accrued over the period between January and March, and including April. But even that, some payments were made to the drivers, albeit not full. Some payments were made to the drivers. And so it is very difficult for me, where I sit right now, to say that DAPSI owes the drivers 5 months' salary. But what I do know is that just portions of their salaries within the month that we're talking about have been paid to the workers. Some are outstanding.
Right. When is management ready to pay the arrears?
Well, it's just unfortunate that the drivers went on a strike, which surprised everybody. But as I said in the beginning, there were efforts that were being made to ensure that their salaries are paid them. It's just unfortunate that Monday was declared a holiday, which was the 2nd. Otherwise, the accounts office was working hard to ensure that the drivers get paid. The drivers are the front runners of these ILO bus system. And therefore, management will not sit aloof for them to be complaining about not being paid. Remember, we have a contract with our commuters. Over 10 to 11,000 use ILO on a daily basis on this stretch. And it is these drivers who ferry them across every day. And so their welfare is not the importance to management.
Right. So, Mr. Chidi, when can they expect these monies to be paid?
You see, again, as I said, the Labour Commission has just invited us to this meeting tomorrow. And so I don't want to jump the gun. Let's meet with the Labour Commission and see the way forward. But as we speak, the Finance Department is working around the clock to raise money to pay these workers, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fred Chidi, for joining us this morning. You're still watching Joy News today. You want to stay with us because still up ahead in the bulletin, the private citizen who initiated the removal of 2 deputy commissioners of the EC, Kosi Senior, says he will proceed with the process for the prosecution of the 2 former public officers. And first-time finalists in the ongoing National Science and Maths Quiz confident of victory in tomorrow's grand finale, which comes off at the National Theatre. We'll hear from a headmaster and others. Stay with us. News today. Thanks for staying with us. Now, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has eulogized the former Vice President Kwesi Bekwai Arthur as a first-class gentleman who will be dearly missed by the country and family. Signing the official book of condolence opened by government at the conference center this morning, Dr. Bawumia described his predecessor as a public servant who served dutifully and honestly.
The whole country, of course, is in a state of mourning following the sudden death of my predecessor, former Vice President of the Republic, Sir Kwesi Arthur. Basically, he served this country dutifully and honestly in the very high offices of the Governor of the Central Bank of Ghana, and also as Vice President. In everything that he did, you see that, you know, he is very humble in the way he relates to everyone, even his political opponents in the hurly-burly of politics. He is always very humble and has a very calm disposition towards people, which was always very reassuring. And in everything that he did, until the very end, you saw that this is a first-class gentleman, as I wrote, and he will definitely be missed by the nation. He will be missed by his family most of all, and may his soul rest in peace.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there. Now, President Akuffo announced yesterday that the national flag flies at half-mast throughout the country for 1 week in remembrance of the deceased statesman. He made the call when family members called on him at the Flagstaff House to brief him about arrangements towards funeral and burial rites.
We want to have a service on Friday. The reason being that we have in our tradition, we don't normally have an elaborate 1 week celebration, but we recognize the trends in the country, and what we would have done was to have the family consult and achieve consensus on the arrangements and announce it on the 1 week. So, but we will have a service, and at that service we will confirm to the general public the arrangements that all the parties, the church, the family, and the state and everybody, we have agreed to go on. So we want to have that service on Friday, this Friday, July 6th.
The former Vice President, Kwesi Bekwai Arthur, died at the 37 military hospital after he collapsed at the Air Force gym last Friday. His death has sparked a national discourse on the state of the country's emergency services and the availability of beds. Also about the availability of basic first aid tools needed to remedy such emergency situations as it was in the case of the former vice president. Adding his voice to the ongoing discourse, head of emergency services at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Dr. Ahiable, called for defibrillators to be placed in all public places to forestall tragedies like the one that befell former vice president Pakwesi Bekwin Emisa Arthur. He spoke to Joy News' Kojo Yankson.
The defibrillator is a device or a machine we use to resuscitate patients or to revive patients who have cardiac arrest or heart attack. Defibrillator is a very important device we use in basic life support. For that matter, in reviving somebody who needs first aid in terms of cardiac arrest or heart attack. It helps, work on the heart to revive the heart, which stops working when somebody has cardiac arrest or heart attack. It serves as a pump. In this case, like electrical pump, to pump the heart to work when the heart is either lazy or is sleeping or stops working. Automated external defibrillator is the ones we use at the gyms, at the shopping malls, at the airports, outside the hospital. The way it works is that there's electrical wave which goes through the heart, like I said earlier on. When somebody's heart stops working, we have during BLS, basic life support or first aid. The defibrillator is the first device we need. When we call for help, for somebody to come and help you, the helper goes to the defibrillator. He then attaches it to the heart with cardiac arrest or heart attack. This we start with 120 joule. That's the minimum, energy we can start with. Then we have two parts. This part is placed on the apex, that's the heart, where the heart is the left side of the chest. And this one is placed, the sternum, is placed on the shoulder, that's the right side of the chest. We apply a gel on the chest of the patient. Then there's a prompt here. You charge first, realize that it's a shockable rhythm. It gives you the prompt to shock the patient. So that's why the defibrillator is very important, because if the defibrillator is not applied to the chest of the patient, you wouldn't know whether the victim needs to be shocked or not.
So watching Joy News today. Now, the private citizen who initiated the removal of two deputy commissioners of the Electoral Commission, Kosi Senyo, says he will proceed with the process for the prosecution of the two former public officers. Speaking on Corruption Watch on the Super Morning Show Wednesday, Kosi Senyo resolved to complete his self-motivated crackdown on alleged corruption and abuse of office by Mrs. Georgina Opoku-Amankwa and Amadou Sule with a petition to the Inspector General of Police, IGP, and Attorney General, AG, for prosecution. Mr. Senyo petitioned President Akufo-Addo for the removal of Amadou Sule and Georgina Opoku-Amankwa, two deputy electoral commissioners, a petition that was granted after a committee of inquiry set up by the Chief Justice Ofai Akuffo found the two top officials of the EC culpable of the breach of key regulations. Mr. Senyo also reveals some details of the committee hearing, which resulted in the removal of the top EC officials.
I'll be petitioning the IGP and cause for their arrests, and then also petition the AG for their prosecution, because there are serious issues there that I think borders on criminality, and the law must take its course. And I will not end there, but I will also petition the Auditor General to institute forensic audit into the activities of the Electoral Commission. Because, my brother, to be honest with you, the Electoral Commission is actually in a big mess. The things that came out as it stands now, I can tell you for a fact that there is close to 300,000 Ghana cedis cash, which is in a Ghana must go, currently sitting down with the interdicted chief accountant to be a proceed of the 2015 primaries monies that were paid to Amadou Sule. The 6 million Ghana cedis cash that was paid to Amadou Sule. There's currently, they claim, 300,000 Ghana cedis cash.
Who claims?
That is in the testimony of the chief accountant. In the
testimony rendered to the committee?
Yes, by the chief accountant.
That was Kosi Senyo. He petitioned for the removal of Amadou Sule and Georgina Opoku-Amankwa, speaking to me this morning on Corruption Watch on the Super Morning Show. Now, the assistant headmistress in charge of administration at the West Africa Senior High School is confident the school will emerge victorious at tomorrow's grand finale of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Speaking to Joy News at the school's assembly, Mr. Ansa Ening stated the school has adopted an all-hands-on-deck approach in a bid to put up a splendid performance as the annual competition.
Assistant headmistress in charge of academics, definitely you had a role to play in all of this. I mean, getting the students to get to the finals of the National Science and Maths Quiz. What's the feeling like right now?
Oh, we feel so good and we are proud of our boys. They've done extremely well and we are expecting to take the cup tomorrow, sorry.
Okay, so how are you hoping that this would improve or better the performance of students here at West Africa Secondary School?
The teachers are going to put in more effort because they know that what they are doing is bearing good fruits. And the students also will improve upon their performance.
I want to say a big thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Okay, so yesterday we were here and then we talked to, this is the head boy actually. We've met again.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Any message for St. Peter's and then at this school, you want to send out any message?
Yeah, yesterday I told Pesco that for them, we are not going to contest with them. We are only going to contest with Adisco. So for Pesco, I just want to tell them that they should just take the third position like that.
Okay.
It's for them, so they should take it.
Okay.
That's
all. Who's taking the first position?
Oh, West Africa Senior High.
Okay.
The Adenta Presec. We are taking it.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much. So you just heard from the head boy of West Africa Secondary School. We managed to get them at assembly. The singing, the singing was on. They are all excited about this. The headmaster, assistant headmaster in charge of administration, has been addressing the students on how to, comport themselves when they get to the National Theatre for the grand finale tomorrow. We understand that some of them would have to stay back and then watch from Joy News here on the school campus. So this is what is happening. It's all excitement here at West Africa Secondary School.
Definitely going to be a nail-biting finish tomorrow at the National Science and Maths Quiz final at the National Theatre. You want to tune in to Joy News on Multi TV from around 9:30 a.m. where the contest is scheduled to start. I'll say a special good afternoon to MFI Joadosi, a woman on the ground, and Abla de Souza. You work here at Joy News, all students of West Africa Senior High School. Now, first time finalists, West Africa Senior High will be competing against one-time winners at the Federal College and two-time winners, St. Peter's Senior High School, for the bragging rights of the 2018 National Science and Maths Quiz. But here is an old student of Presec Legon, Emmanuel Abajiri Afi, with business.